Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to be talking about what happens when you introduce guinea fowl into your chicken flock. Let's get to it. All right, so first thing we're going to do before we introduce them into the chicken flock, no matter where you get them, if you get them at a store as chicks, or you get them from a neighbor who doesn't want them anymore, or you purchased them from a farm, whatever the case may be, what you want to do first is make sure you quarantine those birds in some type of setting, whether it's a cage or in the sense of chicks, whether you put them in a brooder. So this year we picked up 10 more guinea fowl, and we picked them up after we brought our chicks through the brooder time and brought our chicks into the coop. Then we got our guineas and we put them in the brooder itself. We usually keep our chicks in a brooder for 6 weeks, and we've got a very large brooder, and we keep them in that for 6 weeks and let them grow up, get feathered out, and then we bring them out to the chicken coop and introduce them to the older chickens. So we're going to do that same process with our guinea fowl. So we raise them up from chicks inside the brooder, we let them go for 6 weeks, and we bring them out and introduce them to the chickens. Now, during that time that they're in the brooder, or if you get an older one, you've got them quarantined. You got them away from your chicken flock. You want to make sure that they don't have any parasites. You want to make sure they're in good health. You want to watch them for several weeks before you introduce them to your chicken flock. The next step of introducing them to your chicken flock is where a lot of people disagree. Now, I'm not saying what we do is exactly right, but I will tell you how we do it. And we're in the process of it now. That's why I wanted to make this video, in case you guys are interested in getting guinea fowl. So what we do is, like I said, we have them in the brooder for 6 weeks. Once they're old enough to come out, we bring them out just like we do the young chickens. We bring them out in the evening time, almost dark. It's where the chickens are all ready to go to roost, and we bring them out, we introduce, so they wake up in the morning and they have the guinea fowl in there, and they know that the guinea fowl are going to be part of the flock. Now, that's not to say that everything goes simple and easy, because it doesn't. The chickens have a pecking order, the guinea fowl have a pecking order, and then you put those two together and then they establish an overall pecking order. So when you introduce them to your flock, especially if you're keeping them in your coop, you need to understand that there's going to be a time of adjustment for these two different types of birds, and that you're really going to have to keep an eye on them and make sure that one of them's not getting singled out as the weakest one and they end up harming that guinea. So to tell you what we do is we bring them out in the evening, just like I said, introduce them. Well, our chickens free range. So when we turn our chickens out in the morning, just like I did here today, for the first 3 days, we leave the guineas in the coop. So with our chickens out roaming and doing the free range thing, we leave the guinea fowl inside the coop, closed up. Our chickens have feed, our chickens have water in a separate area, and the guinea fowl are able to move around and stretch their legs and understand what the coop is for. They know they've got their feed there, they know they've got their water there, and they know already that that's where they sleep. The guinea fowl are in the coop for 3 days. They don't come out for 3 days like the chickens. And then on the 4th day, in the morning when we turn the chickens out, we allow the guinea fowl to come out and they'll start exploring around. Now, this is where we do have a problem. Sometimes the guinea fowl, and we've had this in the past, they'll hang around 2 or 3 days, but you can hear guineas off in the distance at the neighbor's house. So we've had guinea leave and go join that flock of guineas over there. So you might have that instance where that happens. But most of the time, they'll hang around, go through the yard. And the good thing about guineas is they eat 10 times the amount of bugs and fly larvae and all that chickens eat, and they do that in a day. So guinea fowl are good to keep around when it comes to taking care of your pest population. So let's talk about guineas and some of the information you need to know if you're thinking about getting them. First of all, I wouldn't get one. If you're going to get guineas, you need to get at least two. They like to stick together, and they're really a bird that thrives in social behavior and being able to have that family connection. So I wouldn't get one. I'd get at least two. We've got 10, and we started out the first time getting 5. So I would stick to at least getting 2 if you're thinking about them. Now, if you want guineas for eggs, chances are you're not going to be satisfied, because they do lay eggs, but they're not like chickens where they lay quite often. So if you're wanting that for egg production, that's probably the wrong bird to get. Another thing is, if you want peace and quiet, you probably don't want to get guineas, because guineas, they socialize through their sounds that they make. They're an excellent bird for causing alarm. If they think there's danger, they're going to set out and they're going to make the noise, and believe it or not, the chickens pay attention to that. And so the chickens are able, especially if there's like a hawk or something, the chickens are able to get cover, and the guineas will alarm them to that, no matter what it is. Now, if you have a dog that's running your yard and it comes up to the fence, the guineas are going to sound the alarm, and they are going to make plenty of noise. And as soon as you think you're going to be able to walk outside and have peace and quiet and just check the day out, if you're wanting quiet, the guinea's probably not the bird you're going to want to get, because they make plenty of noise. Now, if you do get guineas and they wander off, don't be too alarmed by that, because the guineas have an excellent homing sense or instinct about themselves, and if they want to come back home, they're going to come back home, and they can be several miles away and still know where their home range is and how to get back home. So I wouldn't be too alarmed. I would say that if you're going to get them and you're expecting them to stay with your free-range chickens in a limited area, that's probably not going to happen all the time. It happens most of the time, but there's a lot of times the guinea will get out and be going through the hay fields and taking insects out of the hay fields and things like that, and they end up coming back with the birds, with the chickens, and they'll roost at night. Which brings me to another little neat-to-know thing about guineas is, a lot of times you're not going to be able to get your guineas back in the coop. Some of them will. I'm not saying this is all the time about guineas. I'm just saying this is something you might need to know about it, because guineas like to be out in the trees and things like that. So a lot of times the guineas will roost up in the loafing shed. They'll roost up high on some of the corral gates and fencing and things like that. And sometimes they'll go in the coop with the chickens. We've had that happen on several occasions. So if you're set on them going back in the coop in the evening, then you might want to plan on doing something to be able to encourage that. Sounds like we got some guinea noise going on. So which brings me to the next one. If you hear the noise of the guineas where it's just a sharp, piercing, single syllable type sound, that's the male guinea. If you hear the two-tone sound going on, that's going to be the female guinea. So these are just some neat little things to know. You might do some research before you decide to get guineas and bring them in with your chickens. Do some research, check them out online. They are beautiful birds. They just have the feather design on them is absolutely amazing. The fact that they can forage and get that many insects in a day and help your chickens out, keeping the pest population down, is a good thing. And they're just an overall fun bird to have. And if you get them and they stay around, you're going to have them about 10 to 15 years. So don't be surprised if you have a long living bird within that. They're gonna outlive your chickens in most cases. So enjoy those guineas, and don't be afraid to introduce them to your chicken flock, and things will go well for you. We appreciate you watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. You guys have a blessed day.